Hey guys, and welcome to your February 2020 Tarot Creativity Forecasts. My name is Kayleigh Jean, and welcome to my channel. I record these readings for artists, creatives, entrepreneurs, and anybody who is working on their personal growth or their spirituality and self-expression in any way. So if those areas of life are intriguing to you right now, go ahead and keep watching. I also want to give a really quick announcement about the Tarot Self-Therapy group course that we have coming up. I will put all of the information below. This is a course that starts actually this month in February, and all of the information again will be in the link below this video. It's essentially a course that takes you through really forming a deeper personal relationship with your deck from specifically a self-therapeutic perspective. So we're going to be working with the cards in a very gentle way, getting to know the archetypes and exploring the archetypes and their ins and outs very in depth, and also working with self-healing spread work and how you can really use tarot as a self-healing tool. So if you're looking for something to indulge your curiosity in, especially when it comes to tarot and divination or even healing work in general, this course could have a lot for you. And we also do have a group where you can chat with other participants as well. Alright, so that information is below the video. Let's get right into your reading. Okay, Libra, while I was tuning in spiritually for you, I was given an image that kind of made me feel like this is a really important message. What I saw actually in your meditation was a stream bed that typically has more water in it than it does right now. It almost felt like this stream was it had gotten a little bit smaller, and maybe like the sides of it just looked a little bit more dry. And I had this feeling come over me all of a sudden of almost like a little bit of exhaustion, honestly. And I feel like the message for you, Libra, is actually that more energy has been going out than has been coming in. And so I do feel like this is something that needs to be remedied. It's not, I don't know that it's dire or anything like that, especially because this is just a general reading. So everybody's going to have this energy kind of, showing up in, unique relationship to your own life situation, and to varying degrees. But I feel like the general sense that I'm getting is actually that you really need to take a step back and replenish yourself. I feel like there's a certain modesty going on right now that you're sort of projecting, Libra, where maybe, I don't know what's going on, but if you just have a really busy life right now, or if you have a lot of responsibilities, or maybe there's things that you're budgeting for or saving for, and so you're kind of telling yourself like, oh, I can't take time off to do that because I need to work extra in order to plan for this, or maybe you're thinking, oh, I can't, it would be really nice to spend more on groceries this month and make more healthy, whole meals for myself, but I just won't have the time to do that, so I'm just gonna go for something simple. I can feel that there's this modesty, or this almost kind of self-limitation that you're kind of doing, and I don't know that this is going to relate for every Libra, but I feel like this is a really important message for someone out there, so I'm just going to go ahead with it. It's like, stop it, Libra. You need to allow yourself to be nourished. You need to allow yourself to take in, more nurturance in life. I feel like you deserve it, and I feel like it's time, Libra. I feel like you have been putting out so much of yourself and so much of your energy, and I think there's this voice inside of you always that's saying, it's never enough. It's never enough. You always have to be doing more with less, and you'll never live up to that. You're only human, Libra. So I feel like there's this really strong message, and I hope it's not coming on too strong for you guys, but I feel like it's really important to say that you need to replenish yourself. And that could be, you could do that in whatever way feels the best for you. But I'm definitely getting this impression of just you having a lot going on in February. And like the sun is, as the sun moves through Aquarius, it trines everything in your sign. So whatever you have in Libra, whether it's your sun, moon, rising, or stellium, is getting positive energy from the sun this month, and Mercury as well at the moment. So you're getting this positive energy that's sort of pouring good things into your life and sort of sustaining, I think, the energetic output that you've been doing. But I also think that like there's a limit to that. You know, you're still a human being, and you do need some rest. You do need some rejuvenation, and I think that it's really important for you right now in particular to recognize where you're kind of getting drained, or where you're putting out more energy or resources than what is coming back to you, and really learn how to rebalance that, or maybe focus more on reciprocation. You know, if you've been kind of really doing a lot, and then on the other side, you know, the counterweight or like the counterbalance, maybe it's your partner, or maybe it's your compensation at work, or whatever, your family. If you've been putting out more and there isn't that counterbalance, you know, helping out, then you know as a Libra that you need to change that, because you can't be out of balance for too long before it becomes a problem. And you're very sensitive to that as a sign, just in general. So reciprocity is the name of the game this month. Ask for it. It is totally fine. Do not be too modest. Do not feel like it's too much to ask for. Be willing to ask people for even like extensions on deadlines and things like that if you need to, if you're sick, or if you are feeling burnt out, or if you just need a weekend off and you can't push yourself too much anymore, or a full week off, or whatever. Be willing to ask for that. It is not too much, Libra. It is not too much. Stop being so modest. It is time for you to take better care of yourself, okay? So that's the message that came through spiritually. Hopefully that's helpful to someone out there, because like I said, it was coming through really strong. Let's go ahead and take a look at your cards, and we'll get some more insight. Libra. I feel like there's going to be some magic in this reading. I don't know why, but I'm just getting that sense right now. So let's take a look at your Animal Spirit Oracle cards. We've got Beaver as the path, and we have Sea Serpent as the influence, or the obstacle, the thing that you kind of have to face before you can move forward. So yes, this is really, really clear. These cards, like I said before, I feel like there's going to be some magic in this reading. Well, it's already showing up, because these cards really speak to what's going on right now. So it does add a little bit more depth to the meditation message, but I do have to say that this theme is still very much alive in these cards. So this theme of rest, or this theme of like more going out than is coming in. And it's really interesting too that I had the vision of like a riverbed, because beavers are riverbed creatures, right? They modify rivers, and they will literally redirect rivers and kind of alter landscapes, swamps, lakes, you know, whatever. They will move stuff around. And so there's something here with the beaver card that's showing me that there is a lot of momentum for you in your life. And actually, I understand why you're pushing yourself so hard, Libra. I get it. You know, I understand that there's a lot of momentum, there's a lot of opportunity, there's a lot of potential, and you're on your path. So why wouldn't you push yourself? There's also something about Libras that is very much geared towards, I mean, you love to make people happy as a sign, and I'm speaking in broad generalities, but you are a people-oriented sign. You want people around you to feel good. You want people to be pleased, you know, with your work. You want to show up and be responsible. That's a big part of like a way that most Librans sort of subconsciously derive their sense of self-worth, is how helpful are they being to others? How much are their energies and actions, you know, proving to be beneficial to others in the world? That's a big part of who you are, and it's part of your charisma. It's part of what everybody freaking loves about a Libra. Everybody loves Libras. I mean, and I'm no like exception to that. Libras are freaking awesome. My partner's a Libra, and you guys are just amazing. You're an amazing sign, but I feel like there's a sense with this Beaver card that some, not all, but some of the pressure that you're putting on yourself right now, Libra, it does have to do with pleasing other people. You know, it has to do with making people happy, and maybe that's part of your work, maybe that's part of your job, maybe you have a lot of, you know, clients that you have to keep up with and that you have to support in your work, or maybe you have, you know, people that are calling you all the time and you have to always be available to pick up the phone and deal with their issue or their problem in order to make sure that things run smoothly at your company or in your business. There's a sense with this card that you're putting a lot on your shoulders, and it's where you're meant to be for sure. But I also feel with the Sea Serpent as the influence card, you know, the main insight that I'm getting from this, it's a little different than like the cookie cutter book definition, but the main insight that I'm getting with this is, again, it's like that river analogy that came through, of the water almost like cycling through itself, like the sea serpent eating its own tail, shows that there's this need for regeneration, there's a need for renewal, there's a need for kind of bringing things back, like cycling things back into yourself. And that's the best way that I can put it. I know it probably sounds vague, but you know, I think you know what I mean. That you really need that regenerative, like almost recycling of your own energy, which might mean that you need to take, you know, a significant break at some point this month. Maybe it's around the new moon in Pisces on the 23rd. You know, maybe as the sun moves into Pisces, things will be cooling off, at least for you, because that, you know, solar trine energy coming from Aquarius is going to be, you know, over by then. So you're going to probably start to feel like, you know, you can taper off and you can give yourself a little bit of a break. You can give yourself a little bit of relaxation around that Pisces new moon. But there's something here that I think really is demanding your attention. And I think that if you ignore it, it will just get worse. So you have to do something, right? The real place where you get to be creative with this is in what it will work for you, like what you specifically choose to do to renew yourself and your own energy. That's completely up to you. But I am seeing a really firm message coming through from Spirit saying, you need to look at this, you need to pay attention to this, because if you don't, it's going to get out of balance more seriously, and you don't want that, okay? So, take your self-care seriously this month. I know people talk about self-care and it can kind of come off as this like almost, you know, airy-fairy thing, but it's really not. For you this month, it's serious. It's like, it is full-on self-care time for Libras. So let's kind of look at these cards. So we've got Knight of Swords, 10 of Pentacles, 9 of Swords with the Queen of Pentacles, 8 of Cups, King of Wands, King of Swords, and the 4 of Swords. Interesting that we have the 4 of Swords at the end of the month, because remember how I was saying that the Pisces new moon on the 23rd could be a good time for you to relax and rest, and we do see that rest coming through. So that's going to be the first thing I'm going to say. Usually I start with the beginning of the month, but in your reading I'm actually starting at the end and then moving backwards, which I think is kind of also symbolic for you in some way, that, you know, you are moving forward for sure. I mean things are happening for Libra. Things are happening. That's what I want to say. Maybe that's what this video should be called. But with the 10 of Pentacles and the Knight of Swords, this is showing kind of like as you go into February, and also the overall energy of February is very active. It is incredibly active, and what's going on is for your benefit. So I could say with these cards that you could be fighting for something, which may feel like you're rushing. It may feel at times like you're this Knight of Swords, like he's rushing through things, and his horse even looks a little bit scared because the horse is like, what is going on here? And he's sort of slaying this guy or pointing his sword at this guy. So that could kind of symbolize you just knocking things off your to-do list, let's say. It's a little bit of a less violent way of looking at that card, and probably more accurate to what most of you guys are actually doing. I crack myself up with these readings sometimes. But yeah, so there is a sense of rapid movement, but what's coming in and what you're fighting for is the Ten of Pentacles. So you're getting the treasure, you're getting what you want. This is what you're fighting for, is long-term stability. So what you're setting up now, and that's why you're being the little busy beaver over here, Libra, is because this is going to create long-term stability for you. So you could be rushing around because there's so much freaking opportunity for you opening up in your career or with your business, and the relationships that you're forming right now could be relationships that will continue to be successful for you in a financial sense, 10, 20 years down the road, right? Like, this is the moment where you're setting up kind of your long-term goal, your long-term vision. The momentum that you get going right now can be incredibly powerful in terms of shaping and populating your future with the abundance that you seek. So I get it. I understand why you're so devoted to this, but I also want to point out that the Knight of Swords isn't necessarily the most thoughtful card. It shows me that you're definitely in process right now, like you are in the middle of a process right now that is bringing in more abundance for you in your life, but it's intense. This is something that you're kind of just having to react moment to moment and try and just do your best. But there is a sense around this second week of February with the Nine of Swords and the Queen of Pentacles. There is a sense that, you could be dealing with a little bit of anxiety in the second week. There could be anxiety around like a mother figure or a mother, like a mother figure, or kind of somebody who plays a feminine role in your life. You could have a little bit of anxiousness around this person. You could be concerned for maybe them and, their prospects or their health or things of that nature. So I do see some elements like that potentially coming in. That's one way that we could read these cards. But I want to say that I really like the way that this Nine of Swords is illustrated here with the little kind of crazy looking reptilian demon guy up here, because it shows that that's not real. It's something that you are really concerned about for sure, and you have reason to be concerned, I think, but at the same time you are also making it a little bit worse in your own mind than it actually is. So that should be a little bit of a comforting message for you, Libra, that you could be worrying about something and blowing it a little bit out of proportion. So just remind yourself of that if you are worrying about a mother figure. Now, the other way that we can look at these cards is actually that you might be struggling with some internal anxieties about something, Libra, and if you try and struggle with them on your own, you're going to be doing this, and it's going to look like that. It's going to look like, not literally, but it's going to feel like you're kind of fighting against these inner demons, this fear that you don't know how to solve. And I think that sometimes with the Queen of Pentacles, the way that she's coming up, she's looking over at this situation and she's offering something practical. You may have an earth sign person, like a Taurus, Virgo, or Capricorn person in your life, who if you were to kind of talk to them about it, they would offer up a practical solution that actually makes you realize how peaceful, things actually are. Because there's something about these cards where I feel like if you hold it in, Libra, it's almost like you're just holding yourself in a position of being stuck in a way. So if you feel that, if you feel some anxiety around the second week of February, just talk to someone about it, especially somebody that you trust and who is going to be, you know, gentle and kind and supportive, and maybe somebody who's also quite practical as well. They could have a really great solution, or they may just say something that kind of makes it click for you and it makes you feel okay about what's going on. So don't suffer in silence, Libra. This is a month to ask for help. This is a month to reach out. Okay, that's like going to be what balances you, is asking for help or reaching out. Now we get to the third week of February, and we have the King of Wands and the Four of Cups. So what I'm kind of getting with these cards, so the Four of Cups came up first, and then we have the King of Wands. So, and there's two kings next to each other, which that also shows something in particular, but I feel like this is you with the King of Swords. Let me see. Yeah. So I feel like in the third week of February, there's something that you're kind of facing. Maybe it is an unsatisfying relationship in your life. Maybe it's an unsatisfying like thought process, but there's some kind of like unfulfilling like way of approaching an element of your life that you're kind of recognizing for what it is in the third week of February, and you're sort of pouring it out. Like and what I mean by pouring it out is like, you know, this is a symbolic image, and it's really about you letting go of like maybe this cup of like, you know, almost like something maybe not necessarily poisonous, but just really not great for you, and you're like pouring it out. So you're saying like, I'm not gonna engage with this anymore, I'm not gonna carry this around with me anymore, I'm not gonna approach the situation like this anymore, this is unfulfilling. And so when you kind of like accept that and embrace that, then I see this like mastery coming in, actually. And this is something that I've experienced many times with the King of Wands, especially when it comes up with the Four of Cups in front of it, is that we see that there was something in the equation that didn't belong, right? And that can be an internal thing like a thought or a belief system, or it could also be something external like a job or a relationship, or, you know, something maybe like I want to say a routine that we've been following, or a medication that we've been taking, or something like that, that we've realized, you know, oh, I want to get support transitioning away from this, or I now am kind of in a position in my life where my desire is actually to let go of this. And so obviously if it's something like medication, you're going to work with your doctor, you know, to move in whatever direction you feel you need to take that in your health in general. But with all of the other situations, I think it's almost like you're kind of saying, this doesn't fit. And then as you sort of let that go, as you sort of pour it out, then you have the King of Wands, which represents this like really powerful surge of creative energy and sovereignty, because what you're pouring out was taking away from that. What you're pouring out with the Four of Cups is something that's taking away from you completely owning your life and taking full personal responsibility for your creations and for what you make of yourself. And so there's a real shift in the third week of February for many of you that comes with the terrain of releasing something in your life, and then it like automatically, it's almost like a release valve is like, you know, taken off, and then all of this stuff can come forward. All of these like passionate energies that you have within you are now able to be fully expressed because you're taking more ownership of your life. And sometimes this can come through when we do something that we paradoxically don't really think is going to create that outcome. Like, for example, if you're having a problem with someone in your life, Libra, and they're being really difficult and they're doing things that are very aggressive, or they're being, you know, really problematic, or they are being very selfish. Sometimes, ironically, the way to kind of get your power back in this situation is almost to, you know, not in a harsh way, but look at the situation and assume that you are the problem. And you know, that sounds kind of crazy because for you, you're probably the one in the situation who's being the most, you know, empathetic and wanting to please them and wanting to, you know, be the person that's smoothing everything over. But if you can't change the situation with that individual, or just the situation isn't changing and you're noticing like mostly only their behavior in it, or mostly only those difficult aspects, maybe like paradoxically, by assuming full responsibility for it and saying, you know what, I'm gonna assume here, just for the moment, because this is something I haven't done, I'm gonna assume that I am the problem here. And then when you do that, you automatically get access to so many other options of ways that you could handle the situation. And it's really hard to do that. I'm not saying that every situation it's even necessarily possible to do that completely, but I will say that this King of Wands makes me feel like you're less interested in like blaming other people or situations for challenges that you're going through. I feel like you're really like, if this is gonna happen, like I'm gonna be the one to make it happen, right? And so that puts all of the power in your hands, whereas before you may have been too tangled up with trying to get you know, other people happy in the situation, or other people involved in the situation, or other people to treat you fairly in the situation. That takes away your power sometimes. So that's something that I am seeing. Now, by the end of the month, we have the King of Swords and the Four of Swords. So I see you as the King of Swords, Libra, for sure. And with the Four of Swords, I feel like this is a restful time. I see you kind of being back on your feet in a sense. Like you're definitely on your feet the whole month. You're efficient and doing things the whole month. This is a busy month for Libras, but by the end of the month, it's like you feel like you're in your kind of power seat. You feel like you're the driver and, you know, the influencer in your own life. And I think you're taking a higher view of things as well at the end of the month with the King of Swords. The trials that you've been going through, you know, maybe this month and so far in 2020, by the end of February, they're going to make a lot more sense to you. You're going to have some new narratives coming through about what you're going through, and also maybe like even what your goals are. So you're going to have some more clarity, and I think also it's going to be important to get some rest. So if you can, try and schedule some time off in that last week of February. I think that will be really, really helpful. But overall, really powerful time for you, Libra. I hope this reading has been beneficial to you in some way. Please let me know if you have feedback in the comments. I would absolutely love to hear from you. You can also leave me a little heart emoji below just to let me know that you're still with me. I absolutely love that. And if you enjoyed this video and you want to say thank you, you know, leaving comments is great. You can like this video, you can subscribe to my channel and sign up with the bell for notifications. You can also choose to donate any amount. Even $1 is so freaking supportive and amazing for my channel. It really helps the work that I do and helps me to put more time and energy into this channel. So thank you so much for being here. I will also put the Tarot Self Therapy information below this video as well. Sending you so much love, Libra. I hope you have an amazing rest of your day, an amazing month in February, and I will talk to you next time. Thanks for being here, and I'll see you later. Bye.